for being with us for this special report on News 12. I'm Amanda Bossard. President Donald Trump is getting ready to speak to the nation tonight and deliver a State of the Union address. And we're taking a live look at the Capitol right now as lawmakers prepare for those remarks in the House chamber. The president expected to make his way to the podium any moment now before he gives his first official State of the Union address of his second term. He did address a joint session of Congress last year, shortly after taking office for the second time. We're watching some members of his cabinet there make their way into the House chamber, and we are awaiting President Donald Trump's arrival at this time. But here and now with us in studio to break down the president's speech and the Democratic response that follows is our political expert and associate provost at Farmingdale State College, Christopher Malone. Always great to have you with us here to witness history in real time.
Thanks for having me. I made it into the studio.
We love to have you with us. And a lot to unpack here as we look ahead to what the president is going to address in this time where there is a lot going on across the country. As we prepare for his remarks that are expected to take place any minute now, what themes or topics, Professor Malone, do you expect to emerge from this address tonight?
Well, let me put it in a little bit of a context. A year ago, Donald Trump was on top of the world. He had won the popular vote for the very first time in 3 tries. He had all branches of government. He had made inroads in the Latino vote, in the African American vote, in the youth vote, and he was riding high. He had popularity over 50%. Fast forward to tonight, and his poll numbers are cratering. It looks like his economic message is not breaking through. The Homeland Security operation in Minneapolis was a disaster. And it just appears that his administration is in chaos 1 year later. He's talked about Greenland, he's talked about the Nobel Peace Prize, now we're talking about Iran, we're talking about tariffs day after day, and of course the Epstein files. So can he focus? Can he focus on the things that matter most to the American people, which has always been the economy? And we'll see if he can do that.
Let's break that down a little bit more. You mentioned tariffs, and I think that's definitely in the headlines right now with the Supreme Court and their recent decision overturning the majority of the tariffs that he implemented. He's going to be in the room with the Supreme Court justices tonight. Do you think he takes that on? Do you think he sends them a message on that topic?
Well, knowing Donald Trump, he just might. He has to show some type of understanding that the American people feel what they feel and think what they think, and say, look, things are not perfect, but things have gotten better, but we have more work to do. And that's not an unreasonable thing to ask of a president during a State of the Union. Can he do that? Yeah. We'll see. It'll
be interesting to see what kind of tone he takes. As you can see right now, the president has made his way into the House chambers. He's walking down the center aisle there, shaking the hands of other lawmakers as he makes his way back. So already a loud, boisterous crowd there. A lot of cheers we're hearing in the background as he makes his entrance. Earlier, as we were taking a look at people filing in, we saw members of his administration. I believe his chief of staff, Susie Wiles, was there, alongside other cabinet members, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. We even saw First Lady Melania Trump and his son, Barron Trump, who is someone that we often don't see at these political events, but he is in the crowd tonight.
He must have had a snow day like us in New York City.
Made his way down to D.C. just in time. He got out of here before it got too crazy with the blizzard, it seems. Some people who are not going to be in attendance tonight, a group of Democratic lawmakers, Bronx Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez among them, have decided that they will not be attending this State of the Union address. Has that been done in modern history before? We've seen this collective of lawmakers on one side of the aisle not show up for a president of the other party?
Not really. Boycotting the State of the Union is not something that's happened in the past.
Definitely saw the president there just shaking hands with Chief Justice John Roberts, so at least a cordial interaction on that front initially here. We'll see how things develop throughout the evening. You mentioned Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer. It reminds us that the midterm elections are upcoming, and this pretty much sets the tone heading into the midterm elections. Obviously, he's got to talk about his successes. Anything else you expect him to touch on with the midterms looming?
Well, again, it's a look back and a look forward.
The president here really soaking up the moment and taking it all in there, from right beside the podium, taking his time
Yeah,
to
where
get in
is he?
front of
I
it.
don't see him.
I think he's right off screen,
Oh,
unfortunately, to the side, really allowing the moment to sink in for
Okay,
him
there he is,
as
yeah.
we wait slowly but surely for him to get to the podium and start his remarks. A lot locally, Professor Malone, happening here in New York. Do you think he mentions New York by name at all? And if so, for what reason do you think he would do so?
I can't see him, name dropping New York. I don't think he'll mention anything about the tunnel being named after him. I don't think he'll mention anything about Mamdani being his best friend these days. But we'll see, because he likes to speak off the cuff, and anything goes when Donald Trump gets to the podium.
And I think that time is just about here, so let's listen in to this State of the Union address by President Donald Trump. And there you have it, the State of the Union address from President Donald Trump, the first official State of the Union address of his second term, breaking records here, coming in at over an hour and 45 minutes, which would make it the longest State of the Union in the history of the country since we've recorded that. Yep. A lot of ground covered here. And we are also going to bring you live the Democratic response to President Trump's State of the Union address. That is being given by the Virginia Governor, Abigail Spanberger, and we're going to bring that to you live when it happens. In the interim, let's unpack all of that was discussed by the president. Joining us now, our political expert, Christopher Malone, once again. The president talking about the economy as predicted, immigration policy, not so much enforcement, going on at one point to call the Democrats crazy, saying that the state of our union is strong, according to President Donald Trump. He had very charged language. He said, we are back right off the bat, using words like better, the golden age, as he came to an end here with his remarks, turnaround of the century, hottest country in the world, but also spending a lot of time shouting out people in the audience. I mean, we had an appearance from the U.S. men's hockey team. We saw Erica Kirk being recognized, as well as several members of the military throughout those remarks. Professor Malone, what were some of the key takeaways for you?
Yeah, you touched on some of the terms, golden age of America. I wrote down, Amanda, turnaround for the ages. Yes. We are in the 250th year of the founding of the United States, so we played that up. I think in the end, it was a typical Trump speech.
When we look at this through the lens of a midterm election year, and we know that you said you don't think it really necessarily helps Donald Trump in the way that maybe he would have wanted this speech to help him in terms of his approval ratings and popularity in the polls. Do you think this helps Republicans at large? Does it also kind of present an outline of what they hope to accomplish should they be voted into power this November?
Well, I think some of the things he alluded to, they will hang their hat on. But most of that speech, they will not go out there and say, well, you know what, the U.S. hockey team won the gold medal, so you should feel better about your personal situation.
Certainly was a calmer temperature than we've seen in terms of the back and forth. I think it was about an hour in, and the only back and forth we really saw was between the president and Representative Ilhan Omar of Minnesota, and it was while he was talking about Minnesota specifically, but even that was short-lived, and he moved on. We talked about New York City before the speech and whether or not we might get a mention, and we did indirectly. In so many words, the president here calling Mayor Zohran Mamdani once again reverting back to some of the attacks that he used prior to the election. The communist mayor of New York City, bad policy, nice guy. So he gave him a little bit of a compliment there. But also talking about it through the lens of that Save America Voting Act that you were referencing earlier, saying that he wants proof of citizenship for people to be able to vote and a long list of requirements, but that here in the city, as we've been reporting, the snow shovelers, the requirements to become one of those is 2 forms of ID and a social security number. What did you make of that moment? How do you anticipate Mayor Mamdani is going to respond to that? Because I know he's going to be asked about it first thing tomorrow morning.
Sure. Well, Mayor Mamdani has, likes to take the edge off of things. So I think he'll first of all make light of it. Very, very on message, unlike Donald Trump.
Interesting to see how he handles that question. I think we have the Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger beginning her Democratic response to the State of the Union address. Let's
in
listen
1705, the people of the Virginia colony gathered here.
Shorter response there from Governor Spanberger of Virginia, about 12 minutes to the hour and 45 plus State of the Union address we saw from President Donald Trump. In her remarks there, she attacked President Donald Trump, calling his speech lies, scapegoats, distraction, really also zeroing in on the topics of affordability and safety, much of which the president also spent his time talking about as well. What do you make of her rebuttal? Was it effective? And what are the memorable moments from this evening that everyone is going to be talking about tomorrow?
Well, look, 3 obviously tested questions. Has Trump made life more affordable for you? Has he made it more safe for you at home and abroad? And is he working for you?
One moment that you think is really going to stick out in these final moments of our coverage here tonight?
I think the moment that will stick out is the discipline of the Democrats during the State of the Union. They didn't take the bait, and Donald Trump tried to bait them, but they didn't take the bait. And I think the message of Spanberger will probably be a very interesting one going into 2026.
And we'll watch and wait for that fallout. Thank you all for joining us here for this State of a Union address. We'll see you next time.